Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, once again a warm welcome to the Tourism Students Festival 2020, organized by New Tourism Foundation, the first ever initiative at the national level to focus on education sector on tourism, bringing students in academia into an interface with the industry and the government, with a view to prepare for the challenges for the new normal. And on behalf of New Tourism Foundation, I extend a warm welcome to all our eminent panel members of this session. So, ladies and gentlemen, the topic for our next session is Dekho Apna Desh for Atmanirbhar Tourism. For any industry to be resilient and sustainable, it is important to be independent and self-reliant, Atmanirbhar. Given the current scenario wherein international travel is restricted and there is much apprehension, it is most suitable that we encourage and promote domestic travel to be self-reliant. This will also improve the quality of lives of people by creating scope of large-scale employment of a diverse kind. And now for the proceedings of the session, may I introduce our eminent panelists. Our eminent panelist, Mr. Steve Borgia, is CMD in Deco Leisure Hotels, is founder member and chairman of Association for Agri and Rural Tourism in India, is founder member and former president responsible Tourism Society of India, vice president Indian Heritage Hotels Association, is a renowned TEDx speaker, national awardee for tourism, and activist for environment, heritage, ecology, and other social issues. Our panelist, Rupinder Barar, is the Additional Director General at Ministry of Tourism, Government of India, Central Delhi, was Commissioner of Income Tax, Government of India, member of the Dispute Resolution Panel looking into transfer pricing and international tax issues, was Additional Commissioner of Indian Tax with Indian Revenue Services. Eminent panelist, Ms. Sonia Meena, IAS, is Additional Managing Director. Our panelist, Dr. Anand K. Singh, is Secretary Principal, IHM Bhopal, is an experienced director with demonstrated history of working in the education management industry, skilled in catering, food and beverage front office, operations management, and hospitality management. Strong professional with the Doctor of Philosophy, focused in marketing from MMU University, Maulana Ambala, Haryana, India. And our eminent panelist, Mr. Rakesh Wazir, is Managing Director at Katra Mata Vaishno Devi Hotels and Restaurants Private Limited, Ludhiana, Punjab. And our moderator for this session, Ms. Vinita Rashinkar, is a health and wellness expert, writer, speaker, spiritual counselor, and tourism PR specialist. She is the founder and managing director of Amara Vedic Wellness Griham, a Dusseldorf-based company, founded with the intention to bring the hidden aspects of Vedic knowledge to the common man, thereby promoting total wellness encompassing the body, mind, and spirit. Ms. Vinita also owns a company called Blue Brick Marketing, which works with state tourism boards and private companies to help them promote their products in the international markets. Ms. Vinita has been featured in various Indian and international publications such as Femina, Outlook, Asia Spa, Finance, and Vogue, and she is currently working with a major TV channel to provide health and wellness content while continuing to follow her career path in tourism PR. And I now have the privilege in handing over to our distinguished moderator, Ms. Vinita, to kindly carry forward the proceedings of the panel discussion. Over to you, ma'am.
Welcome to this panel discussion organized by New Tourism Foundation as a part of the Tourism Student Festival 2020. The topic of today's discussion is Dekho Apna Desh, a step towards Atmanirbhar Bharat. Our Prime Minister, Shri Modi ji, in January had urged Indians to visit 15 domestic destinations before 2022. In hindsight, perhaps it's almost prophetic, given that the pandemic has brought international tourism to a standstill. So possibly we are looking at domestic tourism to rescue the beleaguered tourism sector. We have a very distinguished panel of speakers today who come with tremendous expertise and experience in tourism. And on behalf of New Tourism Foundation, I take this opportunity to thank each one of you for taking the time away from your really busy schedule and sharing your thoughts with not only tourism students, but also the industry stakeholders. We have Ms. Rupinder Brar, Additional Director, Ministry of Tourism, Government of India. Ma'am, welcome. We have Ms. Sonia Meena, Additional Managing Director, Madhya Pradesh Tourism Board. Ma'am, it's great to see you once again. Mr. Rakesh Wazir, who is the President of the Hotels and Restaurants Association of Katra and also the Chairman of the PhD Chamber of Commerce. We have Mr. Steve Borgia, who's the chairman of Indeco Leisure, and he was just telling us about his properties in Yerkad and Palani. I don't know about the others, sir, you can fill us in. And we have Dr. Anand Kumar Singh, who is the principal of IHM Bhopal. Ma'am, Rupinder, ma'am, I would like to start the discussion by asking you about the Dekho Apna Desh initiative. Ma'am, you carried out about 51 webinars, which were very well received across the country with fantastic viewership numbers. And it was during the lockdown. And I think it did a lot to promote unknown and unseen domestic destinations. What have been your thoughts? And what do you think will be the outcome, ma'am? If we can start with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for setting this up, and also thanks for giving an opportunity for taking the Dekho Apna Desh initiative forward. Now, if we come specifically to the webinars, indeed, it was an outcome out of the pandemic, because I think if we had not had the problem of not being able to travel, probably we wouldn't have really leveraged on the potential of technology. So as one was just, sitting in office and wondering how to take the narrative forward, because if you remember, January was when we launched the very nimble first steps, I would say, of Dekho Apna Desh. And we started with the pledge, taking forward from the Honorable Prime Minister's call last August from the ramparts of Red Fort, where he said, let everybody just travel to 15 different destinations by 2022. And so we were figuring out that this would be our, time-bound plan. We'll push people to think. And that's how in January, the clarion call went out that let's all take a pledge. The idea was just to invoke a little sentiment in everyone that why don't we start traveling within the country? Unfortunately, the pandemic came in February, just as we were hoping to scale up the campaign and push and motivate everyone that, let's start traveling within the country. And so when that happened and March looked like a time, how do we then now take the campaign forward? And that's how on 14th April, sitting with different people from industry and people in the office, the idea of the webinars came. And the 14th April, we started with the first one. As we sit today, we've done 55, in fact. And the idea behind these webinars, and I'm so glad that it has panned out the way we were hoping it will pan out, was not that we were going to do a very structured and a very organized thing. The idea was organic, it needs to evolve, and it needs to be a more citizen-centric and a more participative exercise, so that if it becomes too, professional, so to say, then you are almost deterred because you feel, I need a proper camera, I need a proper audio equipment. That's not the idea at all. The idea behind Dekho Apna Desh is it's citizen-driven, it's supposed to be participative, and it has to come from the bottom. There's no point in us telling the Dekho Apna Desh. That feeling, that sentiment has to be driven from the bottom, where that's where the energy of the country lies. And so that was the thought behind, and I'm so happy to share with all of you that the response has been just amazing in curating these webinars. And what is interesting, and because we leverage it through the social media, is that people are actually visiting a lot of places that are being showcased. our priority does remain only twofold in the webinars, is that at the end of it, people watching should say, chalo chalte hain, dekh kar aate hain. And also trying to showcase things that are not there typically in the existing itineraries. And when we see the kind of response that people are beginning to now travel for the last few weeks, it's interesting to see how people are actually going to places that have been showcased in these webinars. So I'm happy, I think, that we are able to bring that sentiment out. It's there in all of us. It's just that you got to just knock it, poke it a little bit and say, come on, ghumte hai na, dekh ke aate hain apna desh.
Ma'am, I think it's kind of aroused a sense of pride in all of us, because I think tourism in the past couple of years has become all about the brag value of getting shot in the backdrop of, the Eiffel Tower or that kind of thing. But this is evoking a sense of pride and wanting all of us to do a little bit for our own country, which brings me to Sonia, ma'am. Ma'am, Madhya Pradesh has been involved in a lot of activities during the lockdown. I think you did Sab Kuch Jo Dil Chahe, you did Intezar Aapka, and a lot of other initiatives. Could you tell us what your thoughts are on how domestic is going to make a comeback, if at all it had gone away? And what are your thoughts about what the future holds in store for us?
Thank you, Vinita ji. And I would like to congratulate the Ministry of Tourism and also put on record my great appreciation for the concept of Dekho Apna Desh, because I'm a strong believer that our country holds so much natural and cultural heritage. We are so rich in so many different aspects. Everything basically that tourism stands for is available in our country. So personally, I'm a great believer in the concept of Dekho Apna Desh. And as far as Madhya Pradesh is concerned, domestic tourism is the mainstay of Madhya Pradesh tourism. If you look at the statistics, the figures of tourist arrivals in Madhya Pradesh ranks, at number 8 in terms of total domestic tourist arrivals, and about 8 crore 40 lakhs of our total tourist, domestic, basically total arrivals are domestic. Madhya Pradesh being a landlocked country, landlocked state, we are surrounded by several states like Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh, Maharashtra, and Gujarat on all sides. And we notice that a maximum number of our tourists are from these states itself. We continue to face some connectivity issues, in terms of air connectivity, especially to be able to attract foreign tourists. And as a result, domestic tourism has always been our mainstay. In the current situation where there are a lot of travel restrictions and people are not able to travel from very distant locations or from abroad to the state, in such a situation, of course, domestic tourism acquires a whole, different importance. And our efforts during the lockdown period have also been to keep the visibility of Madhya Pradesh high in the public, eye and public consciousness through various publicity campaigns. And of course, since the consumption of digital media, the consumption of social media has increased tremendously during this period, the most effective medium for publicity campaigns has also proved to be social media and digital campaigns. Towards this end, we started planning as soon as the first phase of Unlock started, and we decided to do a campaign called Intezar Aapka. And I think it resonated with a lot of our viewers. It struck a chord with all of them. And we got a lot of good feedback from our stakeholders. So that was one of the first campaigns, and we're consistent with our different campaigns. After that, we have had a campaign called Buffer Mein Safar, because wildlife tourism, again, which is one of the prominent tourist attractions of Madhya Pradesh, the national parks were closed, but the buffer zones were open. A lot of people in the country don't know that the buffer zones are open during the monsoon season for exploration, even though the core zones are closed. So we continued with the Buffer Mein Safar campaign, and thereafter a MP Monsoon Magic campaign, because Madhya Pradesh, having a large forest cover, really comes alive during the monsoons. So we wanted this message to also be spread widely and to be given to all our viewers and travelers. Thereafter, our stakeholders came together. Several of our travel agents and tour operators took a few trips to some of the new unexplored destinations of the state. And then we had another campaign which came from the traveler side, which was called Intezar Khatam Hua. So it kind of fell in place. We had a lot of social media influencers and bloggers also coming into the state and tweeting Intezar Hua Khatam. So it kind of, I think, kept the conversation, kept the visibility for the state high. And that is going to be our plan and strategy for the coming few months also, that Madhya Pradesh continues to be in the public consciousness, and we continue to highlight not only our main tourist destinations, but in the current situation, also other destinations which might be attractive for travelers, like those areas which are located in the forest or which are nearby water bodies, because Madhya Pradesh is blessed with a lot of natural beauty. So we are really banking on domestic tourists to kind of kickstart tourism in the state. And to this effect, we have also planned several interstate itineraries from new locations, from locations like Varanasi, from Allahabad, from Ahmedabad, Nagpur, Raipur, etc. And we are in the process of publicizing this to the travelers as well as our stakeholders in the travel trade.
Thank you, ma'am, for your insights there. I will now ask Mr. Steve Borgia to come in and tell us from your perspective, sir, what do you think about some of the experts out there who say we have to be cautiously optimistic, things are not going to be as rosy as we are making it out to be? What is your take on this?
Thank you. I always felt India has no reason to worry. We speak in about 2,000 languages. Other countries cannot even imagine this concept. We write in about 50. We pursued the first airmail in the world. We established the first university in the world. We did many, many firsts which other countries can't even copy. When I tell them Benares is older than history, people will come and ask me, what does that mean? This is India. It was very unfortunate that we looked at distant countries and flew to Pisa Tower and Eiffel Tower and America and Polo and all sorts of things and ignored what was around us. I'm very, very grateful. Forget the medical commotion that the pandemic caused. I'm very grateful to this Corona for a simple reason. I founded the Ecotourism Society of India, which is now the Responsible Tourism Society, IHH, Indian Heritage Hotel Association, and we have been struggling for the last 40 years to do something. This Corona has done it one shot. The second month, people realized. I'm very thankful. I have sparrows sitting in my window. I have peacocks in my backyard. In the town, not in villages. This is amazing. I think it's time we learn from that and not from other countries and quietly repack India. India is just not Delhi, Agra, Jaipur, temples of Tamil Nadu, beaches of Goa. No, we are far beyond, far beyond. There is so much around. So this Corona, this pandemic is going to help us go deeper into our country, go wider, because we will find many such paths. And India is at a massive advantage. I'm not telling you to sit back and wait for the advantage. You got to start. It's got to be an owner-driven tourism package. And tourism is going to develop this country because tourism is going to develop our villages. if sustainable tourism can get into our villages. Because if you don't offer something back to those spaces, then it is not fair tourism. I pioneered rural tourism in the country and I have profited a lot in that. 10 years later, I said, what am I doing? So I started building toilets in girls' schools. I started renovating temples. I started eradicating beggary. I converted beggars into sweepers. Come to a town called Kumbakonam where there is a hotel. This hotel has changed the fate of the town. We treat 100% of our solid waste. So there has been a lot of learning, and Corona has taught me a lot personally. But just in January, I acquired about 500, 600 acres of land in a remote village to convert that, come up with some tourism project and do some farming there. But today, during Corona, I grew vegetables there. And now I'm going to put small hotels here and there. So agriculture is going to support my tourism. There's always a way. But we got to keep our eyes open and not look at America and Europe and keep saying, oh, in ecology, we are 40 years behind France. In sustainability, we are 80 years behind Germany. No, we have our own ethos, our own ambience with which we have to create new products. And I'm glad people are looking around themselves, around. Today, I look at the statistics in my hotels. I'm a hotelier, heritage hotelier. I buy out old villages and convert them into hotels. 80% are walk-ins into my village hotels. They don't pre-book. They are so fed up and they're so afraid to go into an urban hotel, however sanitized it is. I've not sanitized any of my hotels in the villages. I follow the traditional practices. And people just walk into the hotel with their family because they're sure the rooms are going to be available. But one thing sad is most of the people who speak on media say, oh, this is poor times for the hotelier, hotels are empty. So only thing is they come and slash down my price. I wish that had not happened. So we sell at 50%. That's because of the publicity we have created. We need to create that demand. We need to create the demand and not let the price fall. So many beautiful things are happening, but what is great is we need to not only get sustainable, responsible, we need to get regenerative. That's a new word, regenerative tourism, where tourism is going to put things back in place and we need to grow from there, evolve from there. But we need to take the right lessons. India doesn't have to have a casino. You want to have one, have, but we don't have to depend on that. There are so many things. There's a little boy near one of my hotels. He takes people for a duck walk. Do you know what a duck walk is? He takes them along where the ducks swim. He doesn't speak English, but it's a domestic crowd. There are any day about 80 to 90 people following this little boy. He wears a dhoti, he has a towel, he keeps newspapers, and he takes, look, duck, quack, 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 duck. And you see, above the water, it is going calm, meditation. Under the water, it is doing da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And then he suddenly throws one, he has a small gun, the Diwali gun. He shoots in the air. And one duck hangs up his neck. All the ducks think they are dead. That's why they say a duck idiot. You know, all the ducks, once they hear the sound, they think they're dead. And then after some time, he throws and wakes up one duck. All the ducks wake up. Oh, you're not dead. And they continue their journey. And he charges them 250 rupees per duck walk. Innovation. Now I believe he's bought himself a car, but he comes in his car, parks it far away, and changes his costume, and then comes and takes them for a duck walk. He ends the duck walk in a toddy shop. You know what toddy is? It's like kind of arak, fresh arak. And he supplies fish curry rice in the toddy shop. He quickly cleans up one place, puts his guests there, he gives them each a mineral water bottle, and he charges 150 rupees for that lunch. That lunch is only 50 rupees. So new products will emerge. They will become experiential. We will go one step beyond. So this is regenerative. It generates. And we have started teaching people how to climb a coconut tree and give them a license. Your license to climb a coconut tree. How to ride a bullock cart. It's a half-a-day program. So the tourist pays the villager directly. So we have created so many occupations. Every inch of space available grows vegetables and fruit. So like this, lot of regenerative things are happening. I think as a country, we need to stop looking at the Delhi corridors to give us money to survive. It is the entrepreneurs. The government makes policies, helps us. That's all. Gets us aircrafts and flights and connectivity and all that. But as entrepreneurs, we need to lead the country, create new products, responsible products, regenerative products, and run the show. It is the entrepreneurs who built this nation, not the country. Yes, we have slipped because we sat back on a lot of things. We did some mistakes. Yes, but those are a passe. We need not talk about it. We need to move forward and see what best we can give our tourists. And there are people waiting. There's not going to be a big move, but there are people waiting to take care of yourself and enough. Little policy adjustments and all this, we got to learn from it. But otherwise, we are all set to have a good time. That dark clouds have passed. The old cobwebs have gone. It's time we move forward, but go the right way. Rebuild this country the right way. Let the world see India with new eyes, just not Delhi, Agra, Jaipur. No, we are far beyond. This will also make India very pocket friendly. I was getting a bit worried about India becoming an expensive destination. Ask the youth in France, come to India, they'll say, no, it's too expensive. We'll go to Mexico, we'll go to the US, but not to India. India is very expensive for them. They cannot imagine Jodhpur and Jaipur have hotels that cost 3 lakhs and 9 lakhs per night. Udaipur has a room that costs 13 lakhs a night. They cannot imagine. But this is a lesson for us. I hope the government also understands this and encourages people who are doing this kind of sustainable tourism. I like what UNWTO has done this, grateful to them. They've declared this year as a year of using tourism for rural development. But we need to back it with policy. It is risky, it is but beautiful. So we need to offer that space something. That way, 70% of India is taken care of. So this is my take on the current situation.
The two takeaways for me from what you just said, one was regeneration, and number two, ecotourism, and also entrepreneurship at every level, which brings me to Mr. Rakesh Wazir. Mr. Wazir, you are, I think, one of the distinct advantages that India has over the rest of the world is the spiritual endeavor, which always goes hand in hand with everything that we do in India. So, if you can just give us a little bit of idea about how things are at your end in terms of spiritual tourism, because this is also the time of physical distancing. So what are your thoughts about that?
First of all, I would like to congratulate the organizers for organizing such a beautiful webinar on a beautiful subject, Dekho Apna Desh, for Atmanirbhar Bharat. I would like to speak in Hindi and Urdu combined. There is a famous couplet in Urdu, गैरों से कहा तूने, गैरों से सुना तूने, कुछ हमसे कहा होता, कुछ हमसे सुना होता. तो ये आज आपने बड़ा अच्छा एक सब्जेक्ट चुना है और मैडम रू बरार जी का भी मैं शुक्रिया अदा करना चाहता हूं और सरकार का. देखिए, बहुत ज़रूरी है इस बात का आज की डेट में कि हमें डोमेस्टिक टूरिज्म को जितना हम प्रोत्साहन दे सकें उतना ही हमारे देश के लिए बेहतर है, और उसके लिए अपने देश को देखना बहुत ही इम्पॉर्टेंट है. मैं आपको बात बताऊं, आज की डेट में अगर कोई आदमी 1 लाख रुपया अगर किसी और सेक्टर में इन्वेस्ट करता है और वही 1 लाख रुपया वो टूरिज्म पे स्पेंड करता है, तो एम्प्लॉयमेंट वाइज टूरिज्म मैक्सिमम एम्प्लॉयमेंट देता है. और आज अगर हम बात करें, एक ज़माना था, मैं जम्मू कश्मीर स्टेट से आता हूं, और कोई फिल्म आपकी कश्मीर के बगैर कंप्लीट ही नहीं होती थी. चाहे वो आरजू है, जब जब फूल खिले, वक्त, आपकी कोई भी मूवी होती थी. और एक दौर आया कि हमने फॉरेन की तरफ भागना शुरू किया, और फिर लोगों को रियलाइज़ हुआ कि नहीं, कोई फॉरेन भी कोई बहुत बेहतर नहीं था. और चूंकि हमारी तो चलो हालात बेहतर नहीं रहे और कश्मीर में फिर कुछ हालात ख़राब हो गए, मगर थोड़े से जब हालात ठीक हुए तो बजरंगी भाईजान, और शाहरुख खान की और दुनिया भर की फिर दोबारा फिल्म्स की शूटिंग यहाँ पे होना शुरू हो गई। अब मैं आता हूँ पिलग्रम टूरिज्म पे। देखिए, पिलग्रम टूरिज्म आज टूरिज्म की अलग-अलग जो है किस्में हमने आगे इनोवेट की है और ये बहुत बेहतर है। मैं आपको बात बताऊं कि 1986 में हमारे यहाँ वैष्णो देवी में जो लोग आते थे वो लगभग फिगर 4.5-5 लाख थी, जो बढ़ के 2017-18 तक 1 करोड़ तक पहुंच गई, 10 million people. And once I and Mr. Parvez Diwan, who was Secretary Tourism in Government of India at one point of time, we went there to Georgia. Georgia is a small country, and Mr. Parvez Diwan introduced me to their president, and he said that he is Mr. Rakesh Wazir, and he has come from a place which caters 10 million people in a year. तो वहाँ के प्रेसिडेंट कहते कि हमारे यहाँ अगर कोई जगह अगर 10 मिलियन पीपल्स को कैटर कर रही हो तो हमारे देश की, स्टेट की नहीं, देश की मिनिस्ट्री ही उसके लिए अलग हो। तो आप इमेजिन कर सकते हैं कि पोटेंशियल कितना है। और हमारे साथ ही यहाँ पे शिवखोड़ी है, आप इमेजिन नहीं करेंगे, थोड़ा सा टूरिज्म ने उसके ऊपर इन्वेस्ट किया, पब्लिसिटी की, थोड़ा सा इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर बढ़ाया, आपके 4 साल में 20 लाख पीपल स्टार्टेड गोइंग ओवर देयर। और मैं आपको सिर्फ एक छोटी सी बात बताता हूं, आज कटरा वैष्णो देवी में 10 मिलियन पीपल आते हैं और सिर्फ वैष्णो देवी जी की वजह से डायरेक्टली और इनडायरेक्टली 4.5 लाख लोगों को एम्प्लॉयमेंट मिलती है। 4.5 लाख लोगों को एम्प्लॉयमेंट देने के लिए आपको नहीं तो कितनी मेहनत करनी पड़ जाए। अगर आप हमारा कश्मीर ही देखें, आज पूरा कश्मीर टोटल जो है वो डिपेंडेंट है टूरिज्म पे, चाहे वो डायरेक्ट टूरिज्म है चाहे इनडायरेक्ट टूरिज्म है। आज अगर आपका हाउस बोट चलता है, होटल चलता है, और उसके साथ अगर आपका हैंडीक्राफ्ट चलता है, एग्रीकल्चर चलता है, और वहां पे आपका बाकी चीजें भी चलती हैं, अगर आपका फ्रूट चलता है, हॉर्टिकल्चर चलता है, तो वो भी आपका टूरिज्म की वजह से चलता है, क्योंकि जो टूरिस्ट आते हैं तो उन दोनों रेट अच्छे हो जाते हैं, सब कुछ हो जाता है। तो आपने एक बहुत अच्छा ये टॉपिक लिया है, और मैं तो ये कहता हूं कि सरकार की मंशा को समझते हुए हमारे हर एक देशवासी का ये फर्ज बनता है कि हम जितना डोमेस्टिक टूरिज्म को प्रोत्साहन दे सकें। और मैं आपको बड़े मजे की बात बताऊं, एक जमाने में हमारे कश्मीर में फॉरेन से लोग आके हाउस बोट्स में रहते थे। आज की डेट में जितना डोमेस्टिक टूरिज्म हमारा, डोमेस्टिक लोग, हमारे यहाँ के लोग फॉरेन में जाते हैं, आप उसका अंदाजा ही नहीं कर सकते। और अगर यही फिगर अगर अपनी कंट्री में अगर रोटेट करने में कामयाब हो जाएं तो हमें कुछ करने की जरूरत ही नहीं, हम आत्मनिर्भर हो जाएंगे। और इससे कितनी इकॉनमी हमारी चलने वाली है, चाहे जयपुर है, चाहे आपका गोवा है, केरला है, राजस्थान है, हिमाचल है, जम्मू कश्मीर है, आपका मध्य प्रदेश है। आज मैंने उन जगहों के इसलिए पहले नाम लिए कि वो स्टेट्स डिपेंडेंट ही उस पे हैं। आज अगर केरला को आप देखें, जम्मू कश्मीर को देखें, हिमाचल प्रदेश को देखें, आज हिमाचल में से अगर आपको टूरिज्म को निकाल दें तो बाकी एग्रीकल्चर से अलावा बहुत ज्यादा आपको कुछ नहीं दिखेगा वहां पे। बाकी अगर आप दिल्ली जाएं, बाकी स्टेटें जाएं, वहां पे इंडस्ट्रीज भी हैं, सब कुछ हैं, मगर हम वो स्टेट्स हैं जो डिपेंडेंट ही टूरिज्म के ऊपर हैं। तो इसलिए इन परिस्थितियों में ये बहुत अच्छा हो जाता है कि जो गवर्नमेंट की जो मूव है बहुत ही बेहतर है, और हमारे यहाँ के हर एक आदमी को इस मूव को समझते हुए, आप अगर 1 लाख रुपया अगर आप फॉरेन में जाके खर्च करते हैं तो आप फॉरेन की इकॉनमी को वो ये दे रहे हैं, और वही 1 लाख रुपया अगर आप अपनी कंट्री में अगर खर्च करते हैं टूरिज्म पे, चाहे कश्मीर जाएं, केरला जाएं, तिरुचिरापल्ली जाएं, या कहीं पे भी जाएं, तो आप अपनी कंट्री को एक योगदान दे रहे हैं, और इससे बेहतर कुछ हो ही नहीं सकता। और मैं अब आपके माध्यम से ये कहूंगा कि हमारे यहाँ बहुत अच्छी डेस्टिनेशंस हैं जिनको देखने की जरूरत है। हमारे यहाँ सनासर है, ब्यूटीफुल, स्विट्जरलैंड उसके आगे जीरो हो जाएगा, भद्रवा है, नूरी फिल्म की शूटिंग हुई थी, उसके बाद फिर लोग गए नहीं, ब्यूटीफुल डेस्टिनेशंस। मानतलाई, यहाँ पे इंदिरा गांधी जी के गुरु धीरेन्द्र ब्रह्मचारी जी का आश्रम था, और वहां पे वो योगा करते थे। अब गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया ने 100 करोड़ रुपए का प्रोजेक्ट लेके आ रहे हैं, यहाँ पे आपको योगा सिखाएंगे और बाकी चीजें करेंगे। इसी तरीके से मैंने अभी आपको बताया हमारे कटरा के पास शिव खोड़ी है, 9 देवियां हैं, धनसर है, आपके यहाँ सयाट बाबा, मतलब 100 मीटर ऊंचा वाटरफॉल। तो मैं आप सबसे यही कहूंगा कि आप आए, और हमारे यहाँ उर्दू में एक शेर है कि तुम उठो उठ के गिरा दो बीच की दीवार को और देखना आंगन तुम्हारा दोगुना हो जाएगा। तो हमें अब बीच की दीवारें गिराते हुए हमें साइज करना है। और आखिर में एक शेर के साथ मैं अपनी वाणी को विराम दूंगा। हमारे यहाँ कहते हैं कि मोहब्बत में ये लाजिम है कि जो कुछ है फना कर दे। मोहब्बत में ये लाजिम है कि जो कुछ है फना कर दे, और मोहब्बत में ये ताकत है कि बंदे को खुदा कर दे। हमें इन पर्टिकुलर जम्मू कश्मीर की मैं बात करूंगा, हमें आपके मोहब्बत की जरूरत है, आपके प्यार की जरूरत है। ज्यादा से ज्यादा तादाद में यहाँ पे आए, वैष्णो देवी आए, आप शिवखोड़ी आए, आप कश्मीर जाएं, सनासर आए, पत्नीटॉप जाएं, और इससे आप एक तो एंजॉय करेंगे बेस्ट पॉसिबल, और दूसरा अपनी देश की इकोनॉमी में कुछ दे पाएंगे। ऐसी हमारी सोच है। धन्यवाद।
Thank you, Mr. Wazir. Now I will ask Dr. Anand K. Singh. Sir, KPMG in India is estimating that domestic tourism activity will touch 2.8 billion by 2022. What do you think will be the key drivers of domestic tourism? For example, from my perspective, I think people are, they've spent 8 months at home now and they're itching to get away. So I know that is going to be one of the key drivers. So can you, in your perspective, what do you think are the other key drivers? Unmute, sir, please.
Thank you, Vinita. It's indeed a pleasure to be with you in this webinar. And I convey my sincere thanks to New Tourism Foundation for having me here in this webinar. You have rightly said that last year we had about 23 million tourists visiting all over the country, and they have contributed to our economy. So the basic drivers in this, the rural tourism we need to focus. The rural tourism is a new way of tourism, and this will sustain not only the tourism but also the agriculture and the cuisine in our country, because we have a diverse cuisine in our country. And Madhya Pradesh has taken a great initiative in docketing the cuisine of Madhya Pradesh, because Madhya Pradesh has got 6 regions and Madhya Pradesh tourism, and we are working on docketing the cuisine of Madhya Pradesh tourism, and they are developing a lot of rural villages. I think they have taken about 100 villages to begin with. So we are moving in a good right direction. And if we can sell, right, the Prime Minister's slogan for vocal for local. So the cuisine, I mean, people will come just to try our cuisine, and the kind of flora, fauna and natural surroundings we have in our country, it's unimaginable. None of the country has all these things. So one thing is the rural tourism. Second thing would be the adventure. We have a lot of opportunities, adventure tourism. Then we come to the wildlife. Like if we talk about Madhya Pradesh, we have tiger safaris, and we have the maximum number of wildlife parks. So, and I think we are moving in a right direction to develop all this. In our country, the adventure tourism and film tourism is also have a potential to develop, because every state has its unique culture. So it can be developed in a unique way. Another thing is very important. We have to start storytelling about the heritage. The Indian heritage is very, very strong. So we have to start storytelling and tell the world that this is what exists in India. And we have a old history of India, about 10,000 old history. So this history needs to be told to the world. So this needs to be told to the world. So if we are able to communicate to the world that this is what exists in India, so we can really play an important role. Along with this, the manpower is a very, very important, because we need to develop to cater the tourist and to create the sustainability in the environment. We need a lot of manpower. So we need to create a multi-skilling manpower in our country, because technology, this young generation is technological savvy. These millennials are technological savvy. So we need, because IT infrastructure is very important. So IT, information technology, Indian talent, and will be able to help the Indian youth tomorrow towards the sustainability and economic development. Apart from this, the wellness tourism has a lot of scopes in our country. So it can really help to the tourism can really help to sustain the economy of the country. So I think these are the focal points. We need to focus on our heritage. We need to focus on our culture. We need to focus on the rural tourism and adventure tourism. So if we can focus on this, I think we can go a long way, and this will really help to become Atmanirbhar Bharat. I would like to start this quote from Manu Smriti: Sarvam Prabhasham Dukham, Sarvam Atmavasham Sukham, Etat Vidyam Samesha, Achinam Sukha Dekhyo, which means that whatever is under the mercy of other is cause of sorrow, whereas anything under self-control is cause of happiness. So this is the root form Atmanirbhar Bharat, and we can really move ahead and create that sustainable environment with our efforts, because we all need to take the initiative and create that innovation in the people's mind. And eventually the driving force will be the domestic tourism if we need to promote and we need to help our people with the policy framework. With this.
Thank you, Dr. Singh. Thank you so much. Ms. Brar, if you can come on video, if you're around.
Yeah, I'm here.
Ma'am, we've been discussing about rural tourism, farming tourism, all these ancillary sectors which are not so spoken about or discussed in regular forum. So what is your thought going forward? How much of a role will these sectors play in domestic tourism?
Vinita, I've been listening to everyone's input, and in fact, it is so nice to see on panel itself the kind of passion that exists. And I'm sure as 5 different people representing very different, in some ways, professions and also regions, and the sheer passion that's coming across is itself such a welcome sign. And when we see people like Steve, who kind of spend their life doing what they are doing, and I've heard him earlier, though we have not met, he addressed the Foreign Service probationers a couple of months back. And I think that is what is very, not only just a compelling narrative as far as India's strength goes, but is also the way forward is something clearly understood by everyone. Because if you see the sentiment around the world, it is all about experiences of the grassroots level. And it's also the storytelling, and that's something which has been mentioned by Rakesh earlier on the need for storytelling. And so these are the things that we are anyhow working on. But what is most interesting, I think, in a country like ours is that these are skills or these are inherent to us as a people. And we don't even need to go learn these things. These are there in, the Nani Dadi ki kahaniya. For a little child to be sitting on the side of the grandparent and nuzzling and listening to storytelling is something so inherent a part of our culture. And in fact, I think these are the strengths that we have, that if you ask anyone to talk about something logically, no logic is ever complete without the lacing of your own individual comments to it. But that's what makes us special as a people. That's what makes us what we are. We are so vibrant and we are so colorful, I'd say, at people. And those are the things that are being mentioned now as requirements to keep humanity warm. And especially when we are dealing, and I've mentioned it in another webinar, that while technology is fantastic, and right now we are connecting from so many different stations, but the sheer warmth of sitting with another human being is something that is indispensable. And the reports that are coming in from most institutions now is that while bottom lines may be benefiting because people are not traveling and companies are saying, let's save even on spaces in offices, etc., but then it's going to create the kind of psychological issues that the West in so many ways is already facing. I think we as a country, we as a people, we as a civilization have these already with us. We don't need to go anywhere to learn these skills. And as Steve already said, we just need to bring it to the world. It's there already. And why only there for domestic tourism? I think while we talk of domestic tourism in a sense that as if it is only for us, I would say that's only for now. These are the very strengths that the world is anyhow looking for. And what I'd like to say through this platform, therefore, is that domestic tourism will be a good way to propel the whole idea because, the world looks at you. If we as a people don't find enough value in traveling in our own country, how do we go and tell the people that please come and visit our country? So there is a gain to be made even in terms of creating an inbound traffic. When you say that, okay, you know what, I went into a small little village somewhere, and that's where I learned the art of milking the cow. And that's where I learned how to go just do simple farming or looking at the stars. We've been doing some webinars on rural tourism, and it's so fascinating to watch the kind of value that's being created. As was already mentioned, I think by Rakesh mentioned about the employment bit of it. And it is something that the Prime Minister now is flagging, but I think there's something for all of us to understand. The need to disperse, the need to move away from the very centripetal kind of development that has happened. Everybody's been rushing to their cities. India is so diverse in its offerings, whether we talk of arts, crafts, dance forms, music forms, the local folklore. I think those are the things that have so much fascination for the world. And it's really up to our imagination. With everyone coming together, the government at the center, the state governments, the various self-help groups, private entrepreneurship, everyone just needs to come together. And I think the jewel that India is needs to be just put forth. There's everything there that we have. It's a question of packaging it in a manner where somebody says, oh, you know what, this looks really nice. And of course, not forgetting that while we are packaging something for the purpose of a visitor coming in, some of the things that a visitor does expect you to have as part of providing. So you may be simple, but you definitely need to be clean. You need to be hygienic. You definitely need to be safe. So while being simple is a narrative that needs to be weaved in, but we cannot at the same time forget to capacity build around the necessary verticals. And I think that's where also we need to really think out as a country, because simplicity cannot be taken for lack of development. I think there's been too much of confusion around this word development. What should constitute development? And does development necessarily mean only wide 6-lane roads and skyscrapers? Or does it mean a village, the way we see a village in Meghalaya being awarded as the cleanest village? That's development. And I think that's the kind of narrative we need to build. And I'm glad that the state government is being represented by somebody from Madhya Pradesh, because I think that's where we are seeing a lot of work happening in the hinterland. I think the messaging at all levels needs to be that the hinterland needs to be brought to a certain level of development, right, which automatically will go the sustainable way, the responsible way, developing the whole concept of a responsible traveler and a responsible service provider. And weaving into it the various diverse and so colorful, I'll just repeat the same word for lack of a better word, that's so colorful and so vibrant, is I think the way forward. And that's how we should be creating the India story as we go forward.
Thank you, ma'am. I think all of us on this panel couldn't agree more with everything that you've said. If I can move to Sonia, ma'am, for a moment. Between 2012 and 2018, domestic tourism activity grew from 1 to 1.85 billion travelers with a growth rate of around 10%. What, in your expectation, is the growth that you foresee after this pandemic is behind us? Do you think we can keep up this growth? Do you think there's going to be exponential growth, or is there going to be a fall? What is your thought on this subject?
So if I were to comment based on our analysis of the trends in Madhya Pradesh, and we have been continuously in a dialogue with all our stakeholders, issues are that they are facing, and what is the trend? Are things picking up? how much are they picking up, which segment exactly of hospitality is picking up. So we have continuously been in a dialogue and we are talking to all our stakeholders. And definitely as compared to the lockdown period or as compared to June and July, there has been a gradual movement of travelers, and most of them are preferring natural destinations, which there is a social distancing, which are not crowded. So places like Pachmadi, for example, in Madhya Pradesh, has seen a lot of coming in, especially over the long weekends. Then we have places like the Ratapani Jungle Reserve, which is very close to Bhopal, which has seen a lot of people coming in. We are also trying to publicize a few of our offbeat destinations, like the Salani Island, which is very close to Omkareshwar, the Hinglaj, island, which is by the Gandhi Sagar Dam, and another property of the MP Tourism Corporation near the Sanjay Dugri Tiger Reserve. So our strategy in the current atmosphere has been to encourage slightly less destinations of Madhya Pradesh, even though the more popular tourist destinations of Madhya Pradesh are not, even in your normal days, very crowded or commercialized. So Madhya Pradesh is very ideally suited for a traveler in the current circumstances. I think that gradually travelers are moving, people are coming out, especially for short duration trips over the weekends. They are traveling by road in their own vehicles. They are traveling to nearby destinations, which is being called as Aspas tourism. So we even now have a lot of people from Nagpur coming into Pachmadi, coming into Pench, which is right on the border of Madhya Pradesh. And I think that even though, so this is something which is definitely improving for all the hoteliers, but as far as lodging and especially banqueting is concerned, that is going to take some time to pick up. With respect to the number of people who are allowed in a gathering. So marriages, wedding functions, conferences, which were also which were one of the big sources of income, the bulk business, is something which is not forthcoming right now. Other than that, however, I think a lot of people were rare out. They were locked up in their houses for too long, and people are gradually, cautiously moving out. And I think people have realized that this is something that they have to, and one's safety kind of lies in their own hands and the precautions that they are going to take. And I think we as a destination, we as the government, and we as stakeholders, our travelers, that we are following all the SOPs, we are taking all the precautions as far as possible. And I think once we have instilled this trust and confidence in our travelers, I think they would like to visit the destination again. So I think based on the current trends, I think there will be, there will be a lot of, movement, and hopefully we should be back to the normal, with the new normal incorporated in our processes in a year's time or so. And this is based on our conversations, this is based on our analysis of the trends that we're seeing in Madhya Pradesh.
Thank you so much, ma'am. We are almost completing 1 hour of this discussion. So I'd like to quickly go over to Mr. Steve for your final words, maybe 2 minutes, about what you want to say to the tourism students about not only Dekho Apna Desh, but also about becoming Atmanirbhar. So you'll have to unmute.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are.
Okay, thank you. Luckily, I've had the pleasure of being invited by most of these IHM schools and colleges. and I'm happy doing it all the time, and I don't miss that opportunity because that's the time to give that confidence to our students. I tell them, don't really wait for the big money. You create that idea for you, then money will follow. If you look for money, then you'll spend all your time waiting in subsidy shops and banks, and you lose the idea. They need to be told there's an opportunity waiting for people all over, and money is not the only thing that creates tourism products. Absolutely no. Because India is at a very big advantage. I have realized every bit of that advantage because I work only in rural scapes. Not because there is no competition. I believe we need to give back the villages, the rural area, lot more than what we are doing today. We are the only country, guys, that can sell emotion. What more are we looking about? What more are we looking about? And then in the process, you contribute for national growth. So students need to be very confident and not think that they have lost their time because of Corona. Hospitality industry has fallen, this has fallen, that has fallen. No, give what the tourist wants. Right now, from rural tourism, we are also moving to road tourism. Not health, road tourism. People don't want to fly, they don't want to take the train, they all want to travel. So we have come out already with about 6 to 7 caravans, which are full all the time. What if my hotel room is not full? Forget it. What if I can't do marriages in my conference hall? We tell people, forget the conference hall. Here is a beautiful banyan tree in our area. We will decorate that place and do your marriage under that banyan tree. It's going to cost you less. And we give them the heritage of the banyan tree, the history of the banyan tree, everything. And we sell. So this is a time for everybody to look at ideas and move, not talk, do.
Thank you, sir. If I can ask Mr. Wazir to say a couple of sentences about what you think is in store for the students.
For students, I would like to say that tourism is a beautiful line. They should go for. And वो हमारे यहाँ कहते हैं कि जब काम के साथ आपको मज़ा भी आए तो वो काम और भी बेहतर हो जाता है. और अगर कोई टूरिज्म को एंजॉय करने वाला आदमी हो तो मुझे लगता है कि इससे बेहतर तो कोई लाइन हो ही नहीं सकती. मैं तो चेरिश करता हूँ जो लोग मेरे एक हम इकट्ठे ही होते थे, हमारे एक मित्र थे और वो कभी वो जाते थे कोल्स एंड माइंस में, कभी वो होते थे इंडस्ट्रीज में, और जब वो कभी सेक्रेटरी टूरिज्म आते थे तो मैं उन्हें कहता था सर अब ये सबसे बेहतर आपकी जो है असाइनमेंट आई है. तो कहानी ये है कि ये यहाँ पे आप पैसा कमाने के अलावा नेचर को और देखिए जितनी मैनर्स आपको टूरिज्म में आ सकती हैं, चाहे होटल इंडस्ट्री है, ट्रैवल इंडस्ट्री है, आपकी बाकी कोई इससे जुड़ी हुई इंडस्ट्री है, इतनी आपको किसी लाइन में आ ही नहीं सकती. अगर कोई एक आदमी किसी फंक्शन में है, अगर सबसे ज्यादा सलीके से बात कर रहा होगा तो आप समझ लें कि वो टूरिज्म से जुड़ा हुआ आदमी है. तो मैं इसे कंक्लूड करते हुए यही स्टूडेंट्स को कहूँगा कि इट इज़ ब्यूटीफुल लाइन, यू शुड कम फॉर इट. और ये थोड़ा सा त्रासदी का दिन चल रहे हैं, मगर जब अच्छे दिन नहीं रहे तो बुरे भी रहने वाले हैं नहीं. तो इन परिस्थितियों में वो हमारे यहाँ कहते हैं कि हम उभर के आएंगे, और मुझे लगता है कि अगर थोड़ी सी वैक्सीन भी आ जाए तो इससे बेहतर लाइन हो नहीं सकती. मेरा ऐसा ही मानना है.
Thank you, Mr. Wazir. Dr. Anand, you are interacting with students practically every day. So what would your thoughts be and what would you want to tell students who are watching from all across the globe? Unmute, sir, please.
Thank you, Vinita. Our students are very energetic. We are creating that environment for them, and they are developing themselves for the multi-skilling, and they have a lot of potential because they have utilized this time. We have created that environment for them to utilize their time because they all have done their FSSI course and they have been able to keep themselves busy, and they are looking for the various other avenues for their employment and the entrepreneurship opportunities in their life. So we need to channelize their energy. We need to put them into innovational mode. So this is how they can create themselves some niche environment for themselves and create a way forward for them. I think the future is going to be bright. It is just a short period which we need to be positive and look beyond for the new opportunities to come. This COVID-19 has given a lot of opportunities. So we need to encourage those opportunities with a lot of innovation. And I think we have to live this COVID-19 for some time. And we need to utilize these SOPs in our daily life. And that's the way forward for the students.
Thank you so much, Dr. Singh. Sonia ma'am, you are a role model for pretty much everyone who's up and coming in their careers, in their academics. What would you have to say to tourism students and also to the fraternity in general?
For the students, I think this is not an occasion to really feel crestfallen, as might be the sentiment among a lot of people. I think, as Mr. Borgia rightly said, tourism, there are new trends in tourism that we are seeing over the past few years and even in the coming years. So, the only opportunity is not in the hospitality sector. It is also being an entrepreneur in the fields of rural tourism, in the fields of sustainable tourism, but you need to have a passion for it. I think you cannot achieve anything in life without having the passion for it or without working hard enough for it. So I think one shouldn't lose hope, and one shouldn't be impatient also for achieving success. And I think my advice would be to all the students is to continuously work on upgrading their skill set. So if you think that the formal sort of education and curriculum is not enough, I think you should also look at maybe improving your language skills, improving your skills with respect to the sector that you're interested in, or the line in which you want to go into the future. So I think it is a great sector. I think, as Mr. Wazir also said, it's a sector which has a lot of enjoyment. It has a lot of finesse to it. It has a lot of sophistication to it. And there are so many opportunities in today's day and time, especially in a state like Madhya Pradesh, which is kind of at a nascent stage with respect to the development of several tourism products. I think it is an ideal sort of sector in which one is right now, and one should look at making their career in the future.
Thank you so much. Ma'am, Ms. Rupinder Brar, ma'am, I think in the course of the 55 webinars which you have done, you have almost set the tone for the rest of us in the industry as to what to look for, what to avoid, and where the pitfalls lie. So going forward, what would you have to say, not only to the students, but also to the entire tourism sector, as it were, to all the stakeholders? And this would be...
I will just add, in fact, before I answer the larger question very quickly, is that if we look at employment itself, today tourism and hospitality is contributing 12.75% of the total employment in the country. And that is significant. And the very encouraging part is that there has been a huge growth in the last 5-6 years. And that is so much correlated, that has been said by my earlier co-panelists, is that when a lot of development around infrastructure is happening, the hard infrastructure grows, it's really up to the entrepreneurial spirit of all of us to leverage on that hard infrastructure growth to develop the softer infrastructure. And that is, I can say, fortunately reflected in the growth in the employment in the sector. So no reason for the younger generation and the students to feel crestfallen. In fact, pandemic has in so many ways allowed us the opportunity to introspect, to stop in our tracks, to evaluate where we were missing an opportunity. And clearly the domestic development and development of India as a tourist product, so to say, was not really being highly prioritized. We were so busy just traveling to the rest of the world. So I think it's a great time for anyone to be entering this industry, learn the tricks of the trade. The product is beautiful. And there is no question on the product. The product is super amazing. And I have been saying that in every single webinar, that every single journey into whichever part of India that we've gone in these 55 webinars has been humbling, merely humbling. The people are making so much value in different parts of the country. Let's just join hands with them and bring their efforts forth to the fellow citizens in India and also to people overseas. The product is ready, the processes are improving every single day. The promotion is happening in so many ways, and there's just no reason why we shouldn't be doing what we should be doing. So I always end all my webinars with that. देखते रहिए अपना सुंदर अतुल्य भारत. So, देखिए और दिखाइए is how I would like to add. And I think that's the sentiment on which I would like to encourage all the students, that just have that in you. करना है, घूमना है, देखना है, दिखाना है. And there is no dearth of opportunity. It's really up to your creativity. It's up to your imagination. And so all the best to all the students who are listening. And I'm sure we shall be entering into a far, far more robust era for tourism and hospitality in times to come.
Thank you so much, ma'am, and very heartfelt thanks not only from myself, but from New Tourism Foundation to all the panelists. And I'm just going to quickly summarize on this note. The volume of international arrivals is traditionally the globally accepted barometer of a tourism economy success. In our case, in the case of India, we are very lucky that we have this huge populace who is out there willing to travel and who will take the lion's share of tourism activity going forward. And our inherent cultural philosophy of Padharo Mare Desh or of Atithi Devo Bhava will certainly make it more inviting for our own countrymen to come and explore our country. And on that note, once again, thank you all very much. It was a pleasure having you here. Namaste.
And I'm highly thankful to all our eminent panelists for their insightful and thoughtful addresses, and also to the viewers of this session. I'm sure that the takeaways of the session will enthuse confidence among students and young professionals during the current testing times towards the new normal. We have a surprise for you all attendees. Scan the QR code on your screens with your mobile phones and answer 10 questions in 10 minutes. You will get to win prizes and surprise gifts. And I shall see you.